Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Thanks, Kuba, for introduction. Yeah, as you heard, this presentation will be a bit about Terraform Cloud, especially, and ArgoCD, and the tools, the advantages of using those, and how easy you can actually deploy and manage them, and how they actually can ease your life with it. But also, I will try to, show you a bit of my background and how started with cloud solutions, cloud technologies, and how I managed to actually use them. A bit of a story. So yeah, and as Kuba said, Hopin, right, is the platform that you may ask any questions. So feel free. I hope someone will read it out loud if anything appears. I'll try to answer them as if I can, definitely. Okay, guys. So starting from actually, everyone was actually working with legacy application now, previously maybe. So I was one of the examples as well, and working within the GFT company for 5 years, previously in IT for almost 10, I would say, different positions. But recent experience as a DevOps, I was actually working with a previous company, with a previous project with some legacy systems and the tools that you wouldn't brag about. And luckily, our company, is following the market and actually what's needed, and they are pushing the people who would like to learn how like to understand how cloud solutions and technologies and deployments work. They always trying to help you out. So I was one of the examples. So you can imagine, like 6 months ago, I wasn't aware of briefly what AWS is, how to build a Kubernetes cluster, how to deploy application on it, what's pod, what's not, what's file systems are. But now I managed to pass AWS architecture associate exam, and now I'm just on the project, managing Kubernetes and deploying something with ArgoCD. And so you can see that it's really up to you if you really want to figure out how those things work and how to connect those dots between them and how to understand actually this technology that is given to you. But it's also an example that it's really relatively quick for you if you're really into IT already and into those solutions. They're relatively quick to manage and build up your own infrastructure. There's those three key points I've pointed out here just for people who would like to, maybe there are some people among you who would like to start and understand and, begin your adventure with cloud solutions, with Terraform, which I will speak about later about. A bit of AWS. So this was something that was introduced to me straight away as one of the leading cloud solutions. And just told me, Kuba, there are you're still new to cloud. Pick your own technology. They are more briefly the same. There are different, it's like names, convention of it. So we choose AWS, and then we just start to pay about it. Of course, Kubernetes is just things that I wouldn't imagine. I can't even imagine your project without it now. Wherever you go, wherever you are, actually, people will always would like you to understand how to manage it, how to build apps about it. And yeah, and then today I would like to try to show you a tool which you can use, and it's really easy to deploy and help you even to graphically figure out what's actually happening like on this Kubernetes binary on this console that you actually see, right? So yeah, and the second point of this presentation will be actually how we build it, how we build using Terraform Cloud, what are the advantages of actually having a shared state file instead of having it locally, especially when you're using among a team, how you can connect it with a repository which actually can automatically deploy your infrastructure, and safety precautions and options you can have along with it. The option, the Terraform I will present, the Terraform Cloud actually I will present, is just basic free access application that you can use. And if there will be a question, or you guys may be already aware of this, like if you would really like to deploy on production, or which is more safe and within the AWS or any GCP or Azure, whatever solution you might use, like a it's called professional extended version for it, which is like a paid and building within the infrastructure. So it's like it help you out build infrastructure even more safely with more secure purpose. And the last bit will be about Argo. That's how I was introduced for it, how actually we deployed it, what can you do with it, how we configure it on our project, how actually it's easy to learn it and manage it, and it makes your life easier? Most definitely is. And I will actually show you what we did in our 3-month cloud project within our company with team of 5. So starting from it, so like 4 months ago, we were introduced to like a Terraform and the tool which actually you can use to build your own infrastructure within any cloud solution. And our team, developers team, which are mainly Java developers, haven't ever touched Terraform before. And we just sit there having an architect on our side helping us out with beginning of this, what can we use and how actually we deployed it. We managed to build up a infrastructure and actually code which mainly looks like this. And I will tell you just briefly about the hints that I've been using and how easily you can just deploy it. For instance, any Kubernetes cluster having this build on modules and how actually it looks like. And at the end, having a main file that you can imagine building an EKS cluster with only 3 lines of the variables you would like to use is something excellent. Like, again, if you are a developer and you are not using Terraform yet and you haven't seen it, it's just like to make it understandable, it's just like instead of clicking on your user interface in the AWS console, building infrastructure step by step, just using it as a module and just picking up pieces and put them all together, having at the end easily with building infrastructure with one click. So yeah, for you, something already that you were for years. For some of you, maybe something new or you haven't seen it. And basically, it's really fun to use it, easy to understand, easy to learn. And as I underline it, bear that in mind. Like 6 months ago, I wasn't using it. I wasn't using any of this technology that I will show you today, right? So that's how the modules look like and how the Terraform code we used, and definitely the Terraform code that you would like to use to deploy any infrastructure, because it's just easy and relatively easy to understand along with it, right? AWS. So yeah, as here we just built some Kubernetes clusters, some deployment. Well, I will talk about that later. Some Bastion hosts, which is no longer, as far as I understand, no longer the thing that you would meet in the production environment, but we were just using it for testing purpose. We just deploy it to have like SSH access to our Kubernetes cluster if something would happen, like you would lose intermittent access to it or whatever. Right on. So yeah, so modules, how to build it, how does it looks like. I will share some links on the Discord channel later for you if you'd like to have a deeper understanding of it, especially for the Terraform as well. So yeah, so having a Terraform as a tool, as you know now, you can just deploy locally your infrastructure. That's great. But having a team of 5 and people building up infrastructure on its own, on a stack, will duplicate names. You will have countless amount of problems and things that you need to overcome. And therefore, I was introduced to Terraform Cloud. And the Terraform Cloud is something really relatively easy to set up, and definitely a great tool to actually have a shared status file, which will ensure that, like, working along the team, you will not duplicate any work and you will still update the same infrastructure. Or if you're seeing something changes, it will still help you out with it. How it's easy to manage and how actually it's being done. So basically, the first advantage of it is you can actually connect it with the repository you would like to have. So we've just used it GitHub as a freeware repository, just deploy some code on it. We've designed our code and our branches in the way that it would definitely be easy for us, easy to clarify it, and then having those branches divide, for instance, Kubernetes cluster or even a EKS cluster and then Kubernetes deployment. you actually are creating a workspaces. That's how I called here, which each of the workspace is connected to one of the branches you have on your. Oh, I have it open twice. Each branches you have open in your master. So have a look. For instance, the Bastion host. The Bastion host. You just create the workspace, which can be whatever, and then you create each workspace for each repo. You configure it by typing the name of the Bastion, of course, defining some credentials for the repository, and then by making any change, any commits, and any commits to the deployment, the Terraform will actually find it and automatically prepare a plan for you and will ask you, would you like to build it? Let's have a look. Basically, I will not change the code yet. I will just show you how it actually goes with applying changes on it. Let's remove this on the right side. Have it go. Bastion. I haven't built a Bastion for a long time, at least a month, as you can see. Last time it was just applied, but it was working back then. Why wouldn't it working right now? Let's have a look what he will do. So basically, when I go to Qplan and I will try to just run this Bastion, what it will do will just take the code from the Bastion, have a look in the main file. He will actually drop down all the modules, and definitely he will actually try to do the same thing that they would like to do locally. So instead of using like Terraform init, Terraform plan for it, like here, he will do it for you for the shared location, right? So how long it will take me to make a Terraform plan for it? A few seconds, most probably, but let's have a look how he will do it. Yeah. So give it a go. So basically, Terraform, like Terraform Cloud, is just taking all your code, executing a plan, and showing you here the same thing that you will see locally on your Linux host, gathering all those already available resources from the AWS and displaying them on your screen. Like you can see what actually will be built if we go apply it. It will tell you what modules will be load balancers, some of the VPCs, security groups for certain things, some most likely some elastic IP addresses if you want to open it for the world, some internet gateways, like definitely. This architecture was just like 3-tier architecture with having subnets hidden, some tier 2 subnets hidden behind like the network ID. And also, yeah. Where is my plusik? Oh, better? Okay. Having this in mind, you see that this Terraform Cloud prepared a plan for you. And another cool feature of it is that he will actually ask you, would you like to apply it or not? So you can imagine having this introduced to production environment here to life, you have an extra safety precaution, an extra tool that you can actually have, or a team who can actually check what would be introduced, what will be deployed, and then someone who actually will apply it. Also, it's worth mentioning that here you will definitely see another workspaces being triggered after we do it. Here are the peering. So like the Bastion in his origin idea is just to be built within a separate VPC and let you have an access to the, for our idea was actually having access to Kubernetes cluster, right? So we will actually deploy it and see what happens here. Will he actually be able to trigger another workspaces, and what happens? So let's have a go. Confirm plan, we can make a comment, which will be stored in a plan, and then apply. So again, it's really, really simple to do it, having just a tool for automated deployment. It's really, really amazing what can you actually do it, and how easy it's to understand it if you're introduced to Terraform. Really, if you would know how to Terraform work, and you know how to apply environments, having this shared within a team, which everyone can see the logs, everyone can see what was wrong, everyone can troubleshoot the problems if you're actually testing something, it gives you on the fly. Let's have a go. So workspace, I'll get back to that later in a sec once the Bastion will apply. So yeah, so plan, confirm, apply. It's simple. As I said, it's just you hit the plan, you have the workspace configured with your repo. It will download your code, and then he will ask you as we go through it. He will just ask you, would you like to go with it? And then if you're okay and the plan went through, you just apply it. It should be finished. If it's finished successfully, it will give us the output as well. Let's have a look. Where is he? It shouldn't take longer than a minute or so. But I don't want to, we don't have whole day, so I just want to go through it as well to show you all the things. Also, which I mentioned already at the beginning, if you are using Terraform already, and you know that the state file consists all of the things that you deployed, and then you would like some of your colleague deployed something on your infrastructure, you would need to share the state file with him, because the state file is actually give you the actual state of the infrastructure within those like separate arms names and so on. And sharing state file across people, always trouble, right? Like it always can make you harm or something you just applied and then committed, whatever. Here you have a state file which actually can easily be accessed, viewed, and it's shared. So whatever apply you do, whatever thing you will definitely play with it, it will still display. And it's again, have it a go. He did some comparison of the version, and now, for instance, as he's building completely new environment, the state file is now empty yet, because he's still building it, and it's also displaying the previous state file that actually was on the build before. And yeah, I think he will replace it eventually once the run's finished. As you can see, now let me move this around. The infrastructure was actually destroyed a month ago. So yeah, 2 months ago, then build up a month ago, and straight away destroyed a month ago. So yeah, state file is clear, nothing in it. The bastion is being applied. You can go out over it, have a look. It's just doing some load balancers. I hope that everything is ready for it. Yeah. So yeah, easy. A state file, again, something that makes you all the trouble if you use it, but definitely, again, a thing that Terraform Cloud managed. It's really relatively easy, and save any problems with it eventually. Okay, state file, not a problem. Deploy from repository. So yeah, I mentioned that, but let me mention that once more. So that's the whole point of having actually a Terraform Cloud. So you commit something to your code, you change something that you would like to change, you maybe change the name of the module. Straight away, the Terraform Cloud will actually figure out what is going on there, and how it's actually being done, and he will actually tell you straight away that are being done, and plan automatically will be done as well, which is great, which is something that great. I would say, who said that? The previous president of the United States. So it's actually okay, which is actually okay to have this comply. And have a look, apply complete. Our bastion host within the VPC, load balancers, what's else in it, some subnets, it's being done, it's done already. And also something has been automatically queued. Let's have a look. What's this? Queued at me. Another workspace has been queued, and it will try to actually peer up our VPCs. The peering will, if you guys don't know what the peering is, it actually will allow you to jump from one network to another with secure way. Of course, if you configure it properly, but eventually that's the whole purpose of it. So like the VPCs can be a different region, but it will actually allow you to hook them up and allow you to jump from one instance to another. From EC2 instance, if you put it a bastion host, to, I don't know, Kubernetes nodes. And it was triggered again automatically, because this is where you can configure it in a workspace. So you can just, check the settings and just put it as an option, as a variable. Then if this will end up success, please trigger. And then again, I just build it. Have a look. I haven't used it for a month, and then just comment in today, jumping in and just straight putting it back online. I can easily build up infrastructure. So now we just build a bastion. Now we just build a peering between a Kubernetes, which is already standing. I just ran it like before we start this presentation because it takes around 20 minutes to put it up. But now we just connect those bastion with the with cluster. And again, you have all the plan, you have all the logs, and everything is documented. Great stuff. So quick access for logs. So I showed you this. So it's being stored for how long. I think it's just depending on how you set it up. You can store those logs for, honestly, I haven't checked, infinite time maybe. Yeah, older. And as I'm saying, this is just a free version of Terraform Cloud, which everyone can be used. If you're really planning to introduce it to production, there's like a Terraform Pro version for it, which have even more options for you to use. But most definitely, try to imagine I haven't used it before, and then it just told me this to just use it, then build it up, and we managed to do it, and it's just that simple as it looks like. So yeah, so it's stored probably infinitely. 4 months ago, the first run was queued. So yeah, so that's another thing to have. Like you wouldn't see that locally when you build up infrastructure. So another point for Terraform Cloud. And last thing, which was quite interesting, you can also build Terraform Cloud using Terraform code, which means that actually you can set up workspace, bastions, connect them to repositories, configured passwords, settings, and so on. Everything that you can see here, we managed to also create with Terraform. So it's like a ready solution for any new projects when you will go, or anything that anywhere will you go, people will ask you, okay, hey, you're new. We heard you know about Terraform Cloud. Can you show us how it works? And of course, you just deployed it straight away using a code. It's so simple, and it's doable, which again, something that you might reconsider doing. So again, build as a module part. You have organizations, workspace, variables for the keys, some secret definitely if you want to access AWS, because it's just accessing AWS infrastructure, deploying your code. You would need to have definitely some system user that you would need to configure. And yeah, and the organization users and so on and so forth. So you can also build the entire setup of Terraform Cloud using Terraform code. Like, what need to be added for it? Really, it simplifies the process. Once you have one spine of the build code, you just remove workspaces. You just change the secrets for repositories and for the AWS environment for the regions that you are using for the system user, but the rest stays as it is, and you can just have it automatically deployed. Great stuff. Okay, so once we have a Terraform code, once we have the infrastructure, would we like to use Kubernetes like everyone else, like every else as well, right? As an example, I will show you how our ArgoCD application looks like. So ArgoCD is something that you can easily deploy, and again, we've used it as it's open source application, which you can deploy on a Kubernetes. This is another link that I will share on the chat. How you can actually, it's just a quick setup, how you can just apply it on the Kubernetes cluster, how it works, and what options and what advantages is this having versus the pure console of listing a pod. For instance, here I'm just using the kubectl command just to list a pod that is interesting me in certain web namespace, right? It's called web app. I know the application is ready there. And how Argo actually looks like. So here on the main screen, you will see the ready deployments on your Kubernetes cluster. Whatever is deployed, any application that is deployed, any deployment actually is displayed here. Going deeper, wow, he actually shows you the services that he deployed. He shows you the amount of pods that he deployed for each service, like the replica pods for each service that actually can have. He shows you the route that actually those services and the connection that they have. And having this, you can manage it easier, right? Why using a code? Also, as an advantage, you can have people in your company managing the backend and the ArgoCD itself. Like you can diversify the resources for it. Helpful on the production. And again, ArgoCD, this is the first time you use it. So previously, it was new for me. I haven't seen this in action. I was just told that actually it's quite relatively easy for you to deploy. We took it from the we took this Argo and we just did it, and then it starts to appear and I start to understand how actually what's the root code, like what's the connection between the services, the pods, how you can easily view them. Like you don't need to use some comments to extract the things on your actually cluster. You can straight away just view it. Great. Do it have any other advantages? No, beside the view, the services, the deployment, the replica pods, and the relation between them. Again, it can be deployed with the Terraform, and it can be deployed with Terraform Code, and it can be deployed with Terraform Cloud. It's not really defined on the main page, but it's it's just a deployment that you would need to use the charts for it. Maybe I'll just able to show you guys where was it. Modules, ArgoCD. As it's a free, it will give you just in the installation YAM that you just need to deploy on Kubernetes cluster. You need to tweak about the passwords and the stuff to able to log to it. But in general, it's just a deployment that you would like to have installed on a certain, certain namespace, and it will give you the access straight away to it. Of course, in our project, we just open it to the world. We just installed some load balancer. We've changed the DNS. We make it secure. So we've practiced and trained what can be actually done with the cluster itself and the services. But as you can see, it's just standing on my dev pod. It's just built up for me, and I can view how it looks like. I had a nice case which I can show you for the future for this Argo. So having this said, having 3 pods, okay, we can imagine that I'm saving some cost and saving some money, and I would like you to destroy any of the pod. No, doing on cluster, I would just delete the pod. Probably it will be redeployed automatically, but I would need to change the deployment itself, not to redeploy the pod again automatically for me. Can I do it easier? And then you can actually do this. So ArgoCD has an option to connect with a repository that you would like to have your deployments with, and we did it. So we have a separate repo for only deployments that are actually replication of what you see here. So we did it in a way that if you start the cluster and you just install the Argo, we installed the basics of the application on it. But also, we connect it in the way that if I'm going to make any change to actually deployment, just don't do that at home, because I will just edit master manually. But if I'll change the replicas, decrease the number of pods that I would like to have on my cluster, and I commit change, and I have it configured, and I will show you later how it's done. Argo is telling me that it's off sync. He's syncing now, and in a second he will kill the pod. He's already terminating it, so you will see exactly the same what you will see on Kubernetes cluster, and then you go. The pod is gone. So this is how simple it actually is to use Argo and manage all those resources without a necessity of going into console. So again, this opens a door for probably companies to diversify accesses for people, having people access to Kubernetes binaries and itself, and the people who can only manage this bit. Interesting stuff. Let's go. So yeah, so we can just deploy the whole Argo can be deployed with AKS. I'm not sure how many time we have left. It's 5 minutes to 1. Kuba, you there? How many time we have left for it? Okay, so let me go quickly further with. So yeah, so as a bullet point with Argo, you can just install it with Terraform. It's a have an interface friendly, as I told you. So it's displaying services, pods, deployments without needed. You have those webhooks. So what I showed you here is just like when you configure the webhook from your repository with Argo that is already deployed, it will automatically see the changes of your code and deploy whatever is there. So again, it works the same way as Terraform Cloud, another CI/CD application which can be managed automatically by the deployment you have. No, we didn't use Jenkins, we just use GitHub here. Like we didn't use Jenkins, we use Argo, but this is how it's really easy to configure. And yeah, so I hope a bit open your mind for those applications, for those tools that you might use, and don't really be afraid of learning new stuff. I was frankly quite new to it, and then I think I really understand it in a way that I was able to just build a solution and it's ready, and and it can be introduced and can be reused with any development practices along our company, and we can just again share it for any customer that may actually come to us and ask us for a solution, and we have it already there. So yeah, I encourage you to use it because I liked it. And I know from different projects that it's more frequently and more often used within a commercial project. And yeah, I guess that's it for me. If there are any questions, then